Statesman Nation. We're here with Aron Scott, the head wrestling coach here at William Penn. Coach, appreciate you coming in for a little bit as we preview the 2018-2019 wrestling season. Before we get into talking about this year, we're going to recap last year a bit. So you taking over the reins about a third of the way or so through last year, so this is your first full campaign. But let's talk about last year and all the goods and the bads.
Yeah. I think we had a pretty good season last year. Probably one of the big things for us is coming out of the gates, we kind of got that invite to go to national duels. That we hadn't been to national duels in 4 or 5 years, maybe more than that. So that was really good to start our guys off with that. Coming back right after Christmas and the New Year, that was kind of my first campaign as a head coach, was at the national duels, and our guys, just kind of showed them where our expectations are of where we want to compete. We want to be at that national duels, that top 16 teams in the country is where we want to be competing at. And our guys went there, they wrestled well. It was kind of unfortunate that we drove 7.5 hours to have Grandview first round.
Exactly right.
So that was unfortunate, but good, and we didn't have our best team there for that. We had to kind of scrounge what we could together, but our guys went out there, they fought well and wrestled hard. So that was kind of a great start to that second half of the season there. And, we had Max Lewis was a national qualifier for us last year. So that was good for the program to continue to have a national qualifier. I don't know how long our string is there, but we've been competing at that national tournament. We'd like to get a couple more guys there this year. But we lost some pretty good talent from last year to this year. So we've got some younger talent in the room and in the lineup this year. But so last year was pretty good. Moving on to this year, I think we're going to be a little bit better, a little bit more solid all the way up and down our lineup compared to where we were last year. But we're probably losing our 4 best wrestlers we had on the team last year. We're seniors and not coming back, so that kind of puts us back a little bit. But I think our guys are up for the challenge and probably going to be a little bit better.
Definitely. Let's talk about the off season. You guys started up, a little wrestling club going on there. Building off of things that you've seen with other perennial powers and stuff. Just the opportunity to get the guys in the weight room, the wrestling room, all the time, year round, all that stuff. Build up, a little area. Stuff with the youth programs, etc. But in addition to that, talk about, I guess, the recruiting. What were you guys looking for in your recruits coming into this year? Yeah,
so I'll start with the wrestling club. That was, I feel is big for our program and something that we needed to do, and it was great thing to get started. And we had probably one of our best off seasons and summers that we've had. Normally we have 3 or 4 guys stay for the summer and train. We had I want to say around 12 guys staying on campus for the summer, working and training, getting into the weight room, getting into the wrestling room. We were helping out some of those high school guys, which is good for recruiting. I think we may pick up, 2 or 3 recruits this year from that, which, that's important. Getting a relationship built early on with those guys, and we're able to start training them and teaching them the techniques that we would like to see them have coming in. So, not only are we getting good kids, but we're getting kids that we've already built a relationship. They're familiar with our program. They're already wrestling to the style that we like and just the things we're looking for. So that was big. And then just our guys, they worked pretty hard. There was a lot of improvements that were made over the summer. Just that, and that's when you make the majority of your improvements and technique is in that off season, where you don't have the stresses of competitions, weight cutting, school. It's all just having some fun and getting some work in. You got to make some money to pay the bills, and then going to the beach, swimming,
Yeah.
whatever it is that,
Right.
that you do. But
it's locking down on that technique, like you said.
Yeah.
You could spend a whole practice just on doing this one thing and really getting it down.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Like I said, recruiting wise, anybody that you were looking for in particular, anything that you were looking for in particular.
Yeah, kind of the three main things that we're looking for is desire, wrestling at this level and the level that we want to compete at. Guys have to want it.
Yeah.
If they don't want it, then they're not going to be able to put in the effort that we want.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of hard work, and if they're not willing to put it in and they don't want to be the best,
mm-hmm.
then they're not a fit for us.
Yeah.
Because we want to be the best, and we want to bring those guys that have that same similar desire. We want guys that work hard. There's a difference between wishing and wanting.
Right.
Everybody wishes to be a national champion. I think that's different than somebody that wants it and is willing to do what it takes.
Yeah.
So guys that have that hard work ethic, that want to go out there and work hard every single day to try to get better. And the other thing is character. We want men of character, that they're on and off the mat, in the classroom, wherever they're at. They're men of character. They have integrity. They have perseverance, discipline, determination. Just all of that good stuff. I feel very confident in our coaching staff and our ability to teach technique and kind of style.
Right.
And our strength and conditioning programs are great. We can get guys in shape. We can get them stronger. We can help them technically and mentally. But they need to possess the things that can't be taught.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're looking for. We want to get those. That's kind of that baseline, and then we kind of start from there. And then we're looking for guys that have a higher potential, or that more talented guy that's already competing at higher levels. So that's, I would say, kind of what we're looking for.
Definitely. All right, let's get right into this year and talk about 125 all the way up to heavyweight. So break it down that way, I guess.
Yeah. So 125, we had our wrestle-offs this weekend. Nadello, Charles Pierre, is going to be our starting 125-pounder, and he's improved a lot. Comparing to where he was last year to where he is this year, and I would say, kind of to blanket sweep everything, everybody's improved so much. They've worked really hard this preseason. We've probably had one of the tougher preseasons we've had in a long time. We pushed our guys probably harder than they've ever worked before in a preseason, but we have the firm belief that if you want to compete at a high level, you need to train at a high level, and we've been really pushing that.
Yeah.
And I think our guys would agree that they've just gotten so much, kind of joke around with them a little bit, but kind of say they were soft.
Yeah.
We're a lot harder, and they're tougher, and
sure.
mentally and physically. But yeah, Nadello, he's going to come out. He's going to be our starting 125-pounder, and he's been wrestling good. And I think his offense is improved. He's a little bit more aggressive,
mm-hmm.
taking shots and just that continuous movement. He's getting better on his mat wrestling. He struggled a little bit with that last year, kind of riding on top and on bottom. He's improved significantly on bottom. We're still working with him on the mat, or on top, kind of keep that hip pressure, trying to ride guys out.
Yeah.
But I think that he'll continue to get better. But from last year to this year, he's improved a lot, and we're excited for him for this season.
You also talk about any backups that you also in the mix, if there are any, for that matter.
Yeah, so we also have Ian Showers. He's a sophomore, same age as Nadello. He's a hard worker. He goes, and he's definitely going to be pushing Nadello and forcing him to get better. We have a freshman coming in this year that already in, Cody Lehman. He's having some knee issues. I think he may need to have surgery again. We're kind of looking at that right now, so that kind of puts him out. And then we're going to have another 25-pounder coming in January. That's Kirkland Crocker, and that's Keontae's older brother.
Okay.
And we looked at that he could be making some noise here for us as well coming in January. So those those three guys are going to be really battling out, and they're a great group of guys to help each other get better.
Definitely. All right, 33.
33, Darquelle Pierre is returning there, and he continues to improve as well, and just maturing. I think he's been just kind of lacked that experience in those matches. I think he's starting to kind of settle in a little bit. We're improving his shots, his confidence, and just that maturity and feeling more confident and comfortable in different positions. Some positions you get into, you're just a little uncertain about. I think he's just maturing and that confidence.
Right.
So we're looking, for Darquelle to, perform really well. He had a really good regional tournament. He lost, a lot of the guys at his weight qualified for nationals. I think we had 6 or 7 guys from our region going to nationals, and Darquelle was right there with those guys.
Right.
So, we just keep improving him a little bit day by day. I think he could be, up there making some noise.
Sure.
We have McGuire Botorf coming in, freshman this year, recruit at 133, and he's pretty tough. He's been struggling with some concussion head issues right now, so he hasn't been able to wrestle as much as we would like to see him, but we're also trying to play it safe with him and do what's best for him. A lot of our incoming freshmen, we're redshirting them, kind of letting them get that year's experience, and just kind of make that transition and growth. Also, the plan is for Gilberto Rodriguez to make that drop down to 133. Okay. He's wrestling 141 right now. Just had a little bit of weight that we didn't get dropped off in the off season, so we're starting at 141 this year, and then we're going to
ease him down.
Ease him down here. Kind of uncertain of when we're going to get there, whether that's at the end of this year or after the new year.
Right.
But the plan is to get him down to 133. And then, Gilly has been looking great this year. I think he definitely struggled last year. And then this year it's just a completely different Gilbert.
Yeah.
He's been looking really, really good.
Good.
And he's just getting back to his offense. Last year, I think he maybe lacked that confidence and wasn't hitting his shots. Was maybe a little bit timid, maybe focusing a little bit more on the funk and defensive. But he's been going hard and attacking, being relentless on his attacks, and just looking really tough.
Yeah.
Him and Tyshawn Cannon, our other 41-pounder, coming out of the gates this year. They've had some really good battles so far this season. They're kind of 1-for-1. Tyshawn won in the alumni meet. There's alumni duels, and then Gilberto just won by riding time in the wrestle off. So those two are right there. They're great for each other.
Mm-hmm.
And Tyshawn, he's doing pretty good too. We got to get him just when we can keep him aggressive, he's going to be scoring a lot of points and winning a lot of matches. It's just that confidence with him, I think, because when he's shooting and he's getting those takedowns, he can ride guys, he can get out. So we just gotta keep him firing on all cylinders.
Yep.
Also at 141, we have Joe Eads. He had a really good year last year. He's been battling some injuries. He broke his forearm here in the off season, kind of in our spring training. So he had surgery. He was off quite a few weeks for that, and then first few weeks of preseason, he broke his hand. So
a little injury prone this year, Joe.
Yeah, so he's a little injury prone. We're just trying to keep him healthy. So we haven't his progression. He's improving. His we really needed Joe to focus on his shots. His shots are coming, but just being, he's been off from training 20 weeks, so, we haven't really been able to work a lot with him, He was he's a guy that you have to completely pull the reins or he's going to go 100%.
Right.
So we've had to get on him about not doing anything, and that hand wasn't quite healing, because we were trying to, keep that conditioning and maybe have him doing a little bit, but he was maybe doing a little too much. So we kind of said, okay, nothing.
Yeah, just cut it off.
Cut it off. So his growth has maybe been stunted a little bit, and he hasn't. The past 8 weeks, he hasn't really been in the room, or he's been in the room but hasn't been able to wrestle. I mean, he's still doing what he can, lifting weights and running, and so Joe, he's getting better, but he might be a little behind the eight ball. We're gonna have to work a little harder here.
Yep. All right, 49.
49. Dennis Simmons is actually making the drop from 57 down to 49. Okay. He won the wrestle-offs this past weekend. Dennis is another guy that, if he's confident, he's pretty tough. When he's hitting his shots and he's confident in those shots, he gets a lot of takedowns. And I think that's where we need to keep Dennis, is just being aggressive and relentless on those takedowns and confident. We're working on keeping him staying in good position. A lot of times he may make a couple of mistakes and put himself in a bad position where the other guy scores or takes advantage of that, and then as soon as that happens, it seems like that's where that confidence starts to wane a little bit, and then we see kind of that little slump, little lull in his performance. So but with the different training that we're doing and focusing on our confidence and our mindset, I think Dennis is going to have a pretty good year and perform really well. We have Cameron Maynard, who wrestled 49 for us last year. He's been a little injury prone this preseason, banged up knee a little bit, so he hasn't been able to compete as much as we'd like to see him. Tyree Douglas is a freshman coming in. Normally, we talked about redshirting a lot of our freshmen. Tyree's not wanting to redshirt, so he's going to be going out there and competing for us right away. So he's doing well. We need to. I feel as if we can get him to make that transition to college wrestling versus high school wrestling, he's going to do well. He's a tough kid. He's got the right mindset. He's a confident kid, and he likes to battle. So we just, for Tyree, it's just kind of focusing on that transition.
Okay. 57.
57, we're going to have Ben Freeze starting out for us this year. Ben has moved up. I think last year he kind of wanted to start out he's kind of typically been a 41-pounder for us. Last year he kind of wrestled a little bit 49. This year Ben's going to be wrestling 57 for us. Ben's a tough kid. He's been another injury prone. He's been having some back issues, him and Colin McConnell. Colin redshirted last year. We're looking at maybe Colin stepping in the lineup, but Ben's been, for what he's been able to do, he's been looking pretty good, and he's a funky kid. I think that he can wrestle hard, and I think he'll catch some guys with his funk, but he also has some pretty good fundamentals in his technique. So I think he'll be pretty solid for us at 57. And we have two freshmen that were coming in that we're going to redshirt, Ron Bell and William Waugh. Ron came early. He was getting in the weight room and kind of getting into that summer club program. And William Waugh, he's a great kid. He's a hard worker, and he was training through the summer. He was wrestling at the freestyle and Greco wrestling at the national tournament in Fargo, North Dakota. So he's had that high level summer training that we like to see. So we're pretty excited about where those guys are gonna grow into.
Right. 65.
65. We have Johnny Hopper, who's coming off of knee surgery here in the spring. So he didn't really get to do a lot of training through the summer, but he was here. He was lifting, working on rehab, and he's back to kind of where Johnny was 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, last year he just wasn't really quite the same wrestler that he's capable of having to, sitting on a bad knee like he was.
Yeah, it's tough, and being, wrestling being such a mental sport that it is, it's hard when you're injured, and that, sometimes you get frustrated because you're not able to do what you want to do.
Right.
So it really frustrates you. That confidence maybe wanes a little bit, and then it's hard to get out of those slumps. And Johnny, I feel, is out of that slump. I think he's going to be doing some good things for us. I mean, he has the potential to be there.
Right.
I think it's just getting him back there, and we just got to work a little bit extra hard to kind of get back, where we used to be, and then getting better. A lot of these guys we're looking at, okay, we're here, now we need to get better. Johnny's kind of was behind the 8 ball with that injury last year. We've worked hard to get back where we were.
Yeah.
Now we're working on getting to improve. Austin Goen, starting out at 74. I think he's going to make that drop down to 65.
Okay.
That's probably towards the end of this year. So between Austin and Johnny, they're going to be our 65-pounders. Austin is coming off of a red shirt. He redshirted last year for us. He's, we're looking for some good performances out of Austin. He's a good wrestler, and he has a little bit of funk to him as well, but he also has those fundamentals, and he's wrestled in some of those big matches, so he's bringing some experience to the table for him. And Dylan Comstock, he's also kind of in that 65 range. He's gotten a little bit bigger here. I think he's going to wrestle maybe 74 this weekend, but I think he's going to be at that 65, maybe 57, 74. Just kind of see where he lands, and kind of with his he's put on quite a bit of muscle. He's bulked up quite a bit.
Right.
So I know maybe last year he could have maybe been 57, but he wrestled 65 for us. So I kind of see Dylan Comstock being in that mix as well at 65. But maybe we have him wrestling 74 with maybe Austin making that drop down to 65.
Right. Okay. 174.
Yeah, 174. Is Austin and Dylan. Jason Beebe wrestled 74 for us last year. We're looking at redshirting him this year to kind of give him a year to get that growth. Jason grew a lot last year, and he has quite a bit of potential, and we think it's probably in the best interest for him to give him that another year of growth. And I think that would make those following 3 years even better for him than if we were to just wrestle him this year. Though, we could maybe pull him out of his red shirt, but I think we're going to end up redshirting him this year. And he's been doing good and has improved a lot. And his confidence, at the end of the year last year, I think at regionals he realized, I can do this. I think I can be an All-American, and that's big. And it just took that improvement, and then we're excited about that confidence. And I think he's gotten a little bit bigger too, so I think like he's filling in to be a true 74-pounder. So I think there are good things coming out of Jason. We also have a incoming freshman, Makai White. He's been looking good this preseason and regular season here. He's been working hard, and I think he's going to grow a lot. He's one of those guys that I think give him this year of red shirt, and he's going to look quite a bit better.
Right.
74.
Okay, 84.
84. We have two true freshmen at 84 right now. We have Alex Pham and Justin Gerke. I think Alex won the wrestle-offs this year, and he's going to be our starting 84-pounder. Justin is going to redshirt. Alex he's a great kid with a great attitude and a good work ethic. He has improved a lot from the beginning of this year to right now. So I'm excited to see that growth. I would have liked to maybe let him get that year of red shirt, but I think he's ready to step out there and compete. And I think I think just every day, I think he continues to get better, and he's, wrestling with Sheldon, our 97-pounder. So, and Sheldon, we'll get to him, but he's improved a lot, and I think just Alex, wrestling a guy every day that's, 15 pounds heavier than you, that has 3-4 years experience on you, you're going to get better.
Right.
So I'm excited about Alex. Justin Gerke, he has some potential. We need to just kind of work on his technique and get his confidence up a little bit. A lot of these freshmen coming in, stepping in and wrestling these, fifth-year seniors, sometimes that, kind of you get down on yourself, you get beat up a little bit. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these freshmen we're working on, trying to build them up and, let them know that, hey, this is to be expected. You're stepping in with some experienced guys. Good. So just work on a few things with Justin, confidence and technique, and, I think he's going to be a good wrestler for us.
Definitely. All right, 2 left, 97.
97, Sheldon Rodriguez. I would say from last year to this year, he's probably going to be one of our most improved wrestlers. He really worked hard this offseason, improved a lot, and, I think, he's ranked in our region, which rankings don't mean a whole lot, but I could see him being, a national qualifier, potentially getting on that podium. Depends on what we do this season, but his confidence is so much higher, and that's translated into the way that he's been able to wrestle. And he's one of those guys that also needed some experience, and he's been able to get quite a few more matches this last year that kind of bled into getting some better experience, getting comfortable. So I think that was what really helped Sheldon out a lot. We also have Matt Landsberger at 197. He's coming up. He had knee surgery this spring as well, coming in from Knoxville. He's still battling some knee injuries. We think he has a torn meniscus now, so he hasn't been able to compete or practice, train the way that we would have liked to seen. And we also have Will Van Voorhees, from Boone. He's coming in, and he needs a little bit more time to grow and mature. I think he's a little green yet, but just those guys are great practice partners for Sheldon and Alex.
Definitely. Finally, heavyweight.
Heavyweight, yeah. So we got 4 big guys, 5 guys. Davroy Atkinson, call him D-Roy. Davroy, he's starting out a little bit heavy. He was coming in around 235, 240 range. We're getting that down. He's now down below 220 in the teens. I think he's going to make that drop down to 197, but it's probably not going to be until after the new year. Right. So he's going to compete at heavyweight these first few tournaments. Mm-hmm. We have Will Wan that's going to be returning from last year. So I think Will was close to being a national qualifier last year. He dislocated his shoulder in the warm-up before competing at regionals, so I think that obviously affected him. We didn't know that, but that definitely affects your performance, and mentally that kind of puts you off your game a little bit. So I think Will could definitely be in there. We have Gerardo Suarez. He's coming off redshirting last year. He's a big guy. We get him down to weight. He's going to be, I think he's going to be tough for a lot of guys that just aren't used to wrestling a big guy like Gerardo, and he has some good technique too. We also have Andrew going. Yeah. So he's our other heavyweight there. He's has the experience, the technique. I think if we just can get him to change his style a little bit, get those guys to be a little bit more aggressive, they can perform at a higher level. A lot of times heavyweights like to sit back. I would like to see him be a little bit more aggressive, looking to score some points, and I think we would perform a little bit better at heavyweight.
Right, definitely. All right, talked about a lot of guys out there, a lot of older guys, a lot of freshmen. Let's put a little bow on the whole season. briefly talking about, highlighting a couple tournaments, or, obviously we're hosting the national qualifier, the Heart Championships, but also just, what's it going to take for this team to really succeed?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of the same guys we had last year. I think we're going to perform better this year. I think first and foremost, it's just been the mindset and the confidence that this team has right now. They're excited, and their attitude has changed completely. That's important. You got to have confidence in wrestling, and I think right now our guys have done that. I'll go back to training. A lot of guys want to compete at a higher level than what they train at, which is not reasonable. It's illogical. So we're training at a high level to compete at a high level. And that's what these guys have been doing. And we need to wrestle to our potential. We have the potential to be a successful wrestling program right now. Us as a coaching staff, we need to make sure that our guys compete to that potential that they have.
Right.
So if we can do that, I think we're going to have some success. And right now, I think everybody's excited. And, I see that happening. And we just got to, we're beaten, banged up right now. Of course, that was a little bit by design. We wanted to harden the guys up a little bit, make them a little bit tougher, and just get that mindset that, we're some bad dudes, and we're gonna go out there and we're gonna battle.
Right.
So a lot of that was going to battle every day and working hard. So I feel like where our minds are and where our bodies are, we're going to be able to compete, and we're conditioned well. One of the big things is, in the past we didn't wrestle for 7 minutes. When we were losing matches and giving up points is when we would stop.
Right.
We would stop because we didn't necessarily know what to do, or we were tired, and we just didn't have that style and that mindset of just keep going. Well, we're building that, and I think if we can get our guys to wrestle hard for 7 minutes, we're going to break our opponents, and that's our goal, is that we want to mentally break our opponents. And if we can do that, then things become easy.
Yeah.
So, and we're working on our guys to get them to the breaking point and then push them beyond that.
Yeah.
I think our breaking point last year was a little bit, it was less than what it should have been. This year, our breaking point is much higher, and I don't feel like our guys are going to break in matches. And that's what we tell them. We're not going to break. We're never going to give up.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks, Coach. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Coach Scott and the guys will be in Des Moines, or Alton, I forget. Either way, you're in the Des Moines area for the Grandview Open this coming Saturday. So if you have an opportunity, be in the Des Moines area, check them out. So, all right. Thanks so much, Coach.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.